Spiders at Work by Diane Hoyt-Goldsmith. Nature's Webmaker. The tiny creature called a spider spins a web that is both beautiful and useful. Although it looks like lace, the web is a deadly trap. Hanging in the space between two plants, the threads that make up the web are almost invisible. A fly buzzes into the web and gets stuck. Then the spider runs out and wraps the insect up in sticky threads. Next, the spider carries the fly away to eat it. The garden spider is one of nature's best builders. Let's look at how it makes its web between two plants. First, the spider makes a bridge line by spinning out a long silk thread. The silk begins as a liquid that the spider sprays from its body. When the silk hits the air, it hardens into the strongest fiber found in nature. Air currents blow one end of this thread to another plant where it sticks. The spider travels along the bridge line it has made. It drops another line down to a plant below and travels down it. Then it comes back up with another silk thread to make a triangle. The spider keeps spinning. Back and forth, up and down the spider goes. The web now looks something like the spokes of a wheel. Then the spider lays the trap, a long thread of sticky silk that spirals around the spokes until it reaches the center of the wheel. When the spider gets a victim, it can race down the spokes because they are dry, not sticky, and capture its prey. Spiders, spiders everywhere. There are many different kinds of spiders. Some spiders make webs to catch their food in the air. Others hunt for insects on the ground. Spiders can be found anywhere on Earth. They live in jungles near the sea. They live on the top of the highest mountains. Because spiders travel by clinging to wind-blown silk threads, a kind of travel called ballooning, they have also been found miles up in the sky and hundreds of miles out to sea. Spiders come in many sizes. Some are as small as the head of a pin. A few are much larger. The bird-eating tarantulas of South America can be as long as 10 inches with their legs spread. There are more than 30,000 species of spiders living in the world that we know about. Scientists believe the total number of kinds of spiders may be anywhere from 50,000 to 100,000. More than 2,000 different kinds of spiders live in the United States. Two of the best known are the black widow spider and the tarantula. The dangerous black widow. The female black widow has a poisonous bite that can cause humans serious illness and even death. But the black widow is even more dangerous to her mate. From time to time, she kills and eats him. This behavior isn't unusual among spiders. Many other kinds do the same thing. Black widows have a small, shiny black body. On the bottom, there is a red or yellow mark shaped like an hourglass. Black widows can be found everywhere in the United States, except Alaska. The poison in the black widow's bite is very strong. The spider uses it to kill the insects it eats. The black widow makes a web to catch an insect. When she has one in her trap, she throws a few sticky threads over it. As the insect struggles to get free, the black widow bites and kills it. Then she can eat it whenever she wants to. Black widow spiders do not bite people very often. If the spider is left alone, it won't hurt anyone. The best advice is to avoid any spider with a shiny black body and a red or yellow mark on the bottom. Tarantulas. Deadly monsters? Most tarantulas aren't very dangerous, but they look like they are. Unlike other spiders, the tarantula can be huge, anywhere from the size of a quarter to the size of an outstretched human hand. Its body is covered with hair. Although tarantulas look like monsters, most kinds have a bite no more powerful than a bee sting. The tarantula likes to be left alone in a quiet, dark place. In fact, some people think that tarantulas make good pets. The hairs on the tarantula's body help it to defend itself. When in danger, the tarantula drops some of its hairs. Each hair has a tiny barb at the end. This barb is as sharp as a fishhook and can hurt the skin and eyes of an enemy. These hairs also pose the spider's greatest threat to humans because they can cause an allergic reaction in some people. Although tarantulas have 8 eyes, they can't see very well. They hide and wait for an insect to come to them. The hairs on the tarantula's body and legs help it to sense when something is getting close. The tarantula feeds on all kinds of beetles, grasshoppers, and caterpillars. The Daddy Longlegs. Certain creatures that we may think are spiders are not. Daddy Longlegs are a good example of this. They look like spiders because they are part of the same family. Like many spiders, Daddy Longlegs are helpful to humans. They eat insects that are harmful. For example, they like to eat grasshoppers and locusts, insects that can ruin a farmer's crops. They also like to eat flies and mosquitoes. These insects spread sickness to humans. Can you guess how the Daddy Longlegs got its name? It has very long legs. 2 of its legs are even longer than all the others. These 2 legs have a special purpose. The Daddy Longlegs uses them to touch things as it passes. The fine hairs on these legs help it to hear. There are also dark spots on the legs that help it to smell and taste. Each of the Daddy Longlegs' 8 legs ends with a tiny hook. It uses these to grab onto things as it walks over them. Spiders in stories. In many parts of the world, spiders have been featured in stories and folk tales. In Africa and the Caribbean, there are humorous tales about a famous spider called Anansi. He is a clever character who is constantly getting in and out of trouble. Native Americans have many folk tales about the spider. In one of these, the Navajo tell of Spider Woman. She knew all about spinning and weaving. She used these skills to help the first people learn how to make blankets that would keep them warm during the cold winters. She showed them how to take the wool from their sheep and spin it into thread. Then they dyed the thread bright colors using dyes made from plants. Finally, on a wooden loom, Spider Woman taught the Navajo how to weave the thread into beautiful patterns. Like the web of the spider, these blankets are both beautiful and useful. The Master Weaver. Round and round, up and down, a hungry spider rushes to weave its web. Later, it will rest, waiting for an insect to come by. Nature's web maker knows how to create something beautiful. The web, however, is also useful. It is the key to this spider's survival.